Okay, so we are comparing wild animals to law enforcement now. This is the same party who wants to defund the police, yet lives in cities overrun by gangs and murderers. The only difference in the second example is that the illegal did not have to come here. And even if he did, there's a method to come in legally, and then they would not go after him. It is the difference between buying something from a store and shoplifting. I am not sure what Ozempic has to do with anything, but if it is a reference to fat generals, it is a laughable comparison. All the generals have to do is keep up with the physical training that their men have to do. Drugs are not going to do that, especially not one as dangerous as Ozempic. Portland and cities like it are already dangerous. The mayors and law enforcement do not arrest the criminals. And even when they do, the Soros puppets get all of the charges dropped. There is nothing about this destruction that can be compared to the 4th of July. To say that there is a comparison is just laughable. However, Mr. Lukovich is right about one thing. President Trump and his supporters are calling a spade a spade. Mr. Pett is severely deluded if he thinks that any of these jobs are possible. Except maybe campus speech monitor. Campuses cannot have Christians, conservatives, or Jews express views contrary to the establishment. So enforcing the law makes you a thug. Naturally, these are the same people who want to defund the police while their cities burn. Liberals are already billionaire sycophants. However, just for billionaires who hold the same views as the establishment. As for national park coal miners, just because the land is under the control of the states or private corporations, this is proof that it will be destroyed. People pay top dollar to go out in nature and or live by themselves. Mr. Pett is just throwing out as many phrases as he can and hoping that at least one of them will stick. I am trying to find an example of martial law, such as governments forcing people to stay in their homes, shutting down businesses, closing schools, keeping people from going to church, forbidding criticism of the current thing, getting people who disagree fired, or anything else that only a tyrant would try. Although all of that was done during the China virus lockdowns, Democrats just love to project their own sins onto Republicans. As I mentioned last week, ICE agents did not zip tie a child, even with the game of telephone. It is pathetic that the story got so bad. It started with the father playing with his child, and turned into a story about government overreach. Also, the Capitol was not stormed. Video footage shows doors being unlocked from the inside, and at least one person got a tour. So, wrong on all fronts. As I have mentioned multiple times at this point, I am not going to give a blank pass to Israel. I do not even give a blank pass to the federal government in America. However, if you warn people to leave, you cannot really be blamed when they stay. Furthermore, Hamas puts their missile launchers in high civilian areas, just to make Israel look bad. Additionally, both Hamas and the fake news in America have been shown to use selectively edited footage, as well as easily disprovable fakes. As such, Hamas has no credibility. Miranda rights are a very fascinating legal notion. If at this point you do not know your Miranda rights, you need more help than I am qualified to give. Something tells me that Mr. Bennett drew this concerning the illegals. If that is the case, only Americans have rights under the Constitution. No French people have these rights. No Japanese people have these rights. No Ugandan people have these rights. No Venezuelan people have these rights. Only Americans have these rights. The rest can be sent back to wherever it is that they came from. Have you ever heard someone use a word so often that it loses all meaning? Words like fascist, Nazi, and totalitarian have been used to describe President Trump, but they have lost their meaning, and thus degrade actual victims of real fascists, Nazis, and totalitarians. Moving on, the same thing applies to the word war. I could go through each of these flags, but I do not have the time. The fact remains that you cannot just call something a war, just because you disagree with the policy. Moving on, it is not just this peace agreement, but several others in rapid succession. Actually, rainbows are still allowed in Texas. I'm not sure how something like that could be banned. After all, the rainbow is a symbol of God's mercy. And no matter how many people fall into sodomy, God will never again judge the whole world with a flood. Of course, liberals have since perverted it, and now it is a symbol to justify sins, such as sodomy, and claim innocence. Let us go from left to right. Democrats were bragging about replacement for years. It was only once Republicans started calling it out and securing our borders from gangs and cartels that it was suddenly a problem. It does not matter how many suicide bombers, missile launches, terror tunnels, or invasions there are. Israel apparently has no right to defend itself. As for consumerism, it is the free market that actually protects these species. More efficient industries means that there is less waste. And waste management infrastructure means that the same waste does not end up in the ocean. This cartoon was just a scattergun. Liberals are obsessed with calling President Trump a dictator, and they still have no evidence of this dictatorial rule. But they are going to keep saying it. Now, I do not think that President Trump brought peace to the Middle East. Right now, it is just a ceasefire. The only way that we will have peace in the Middle East is when Jesus comes again. And once more, there is no stranglehold on American democracy, nor is there a stranglehold on what we actually have, a republic. If President Trump were the dictator that liberals make him out to be, this cartoon would not even be allowed.